Very early on in conversations with Film and Video Umbrella, I was pretty certain that I wanted to follow the pole vault. When Stephen Bode started talking about Tali Sharot and her work on optimism, it sprung to mind as a rather perfect, emblematic kind of motif or gesture that might effectively symbolise or epitomise the idea of optimism manifested in some way, because in the pole vault event you're literally seeking to jump, to reach, to attain or achieve ever greater heights. But I was also fascinated in the paradox between the fleetingness of the pole vault and its status as the most complex of all track and field events. What I didn't want to do was in any way try to emulate the visual conventions of TV sporting footage in terms of how fleeting moments are reproduced, captured, slowed down, replayed. You know, we're working on a very different scale here, and it's about finding a different language to try to explore both those fleeting moments, those fleeting movements, and the fleeting state of mind. Serendipitously, I met Nikki Clayton. She's based at Cambridge, and her work is focused on corvid cognition.
I study birds, how they move, how they behave, and how they think. And what we're doing is we're trying to use movement as our medium for thought rather than words. And you might think, well, isn't that a bit weird for a scientist? But actually in my day job, when I'm studying how crows and young children think, I have to use movements, I have to use the powers of observation, I have to use their behaviours. I can't rely on language. Crows don't talk and young children have very limited linguistic skills, so I have to use movement too. Mental time travel is what we do for a living. It's the ability to think about the past, to travel back in one's mind's eye, to remember and reminisce about things that happened to us. And it's about flip-flopping forwards in time to imagine and plan for the future. And these kinds of psychological processes are absolutely essential in planning any complex event, particularly something like pole vaulting. There's all the physical preparation that goes into it, and the whole idea of needing body memory, of training your body to make particular kinds of movements. And there, of course, there's many parallels in dance. But there's also the psychology of the planning process, the getting your mind ready for an event, sort of mentally preparing for it. You can do aspects of that through knowing about the event that happens in the future. And other aspects you do by actually imagining yourself in that future event in time. So those were the kind of processes that Sue and I have been exploring and thinking about how to capture those both artistically and scientifically.
If the basic objective of the pole vault is to hurl yourself over as high a bar as possible, I was interested in this both as a kind of momentary suspension, and also as a willful defiance of gravity. It's difficult this side for some reason. She's not coming over yet, so we can't. I quite like that actually. I've been filming Kate Denison at Loughborough HIPAC, the High Performance Athletics Centre. She's an elite athlete. She's already competed in one Olympics, so this will be her second. I've also been filming young athletes belonging to the Enfield and Haringey Athletics Club at Lee Valley. The variation kind of tells you how, where the limits of their control and their body awareness is. With the younger kids, there's a lot more flailing of limbs. With the older kids who have been competing, have been pole vaulting for a number of years, there's much more consistency, they have much more control. I think both the variation and the consistency, the kind of synchrony is interesting, and it's highlighted in the multiplying of screens. There might be a shared moment of takeoff, which points to a shared aspiration, if you like. The shared aspirations come out in the interviews in part, and the ambitions, the individual ambitions of the kids, how they vary and how some of them are really set very high. And then in thinking about gravity and in thinking about how that will to defy gravity is what drives and ties together all the aspects of training, whether it's to do with how you hold the pole, how you do your run up, how you control yourself on hoops, how you climb a rope. It's all driving towards being able to defy gravity for a moment. And so I wanted to try to reflect that in quite a literal way, I suppose, to begin to reflect that in how I framed all these movements. I was interested in taking away the stability of the image, so avoiding neat horizontals and verticals, introducing increasingly steep angles. So I hope that that helps to create a sense of the ground no longer being level, that compulsion or momentum towards upwards, towards the ceiling, under you, over you. I'm not quite sure how it reads when you're halfway over a bar.
For me, these kinds of collaboration are very inspiring because they're so creative and because they give you the opportunity to really think outside of the box and to play with ideas and to see things from new perspectives.
Yeah, off you
Okay,
go.
let's try it.
No moving. Okay, Kate, just hold that position there, if you don't mind.